Hey guys, thanks for coming to the channel, and you're probably going to want to watch this video twice because I'm going to go through it real quick. But this is crankbaiting simplified, and I'm going to talk about depth, watercolor, action, time of year for what you do, and we're going to go through it real quick. So let's start with shallow crankbaits first. Shallow crankbait, you're going to throw baby 1-minuses and other small square bills. What's the difference? Baby 1- is probably going to be more for over top of grass that's not topped out yet. Small square bills are going to be more for shallow, woody or rocky cover to get the deflection that you need. Mid-depth crankbaits are when the fish have pulled off the bank a little bit. They're on that first break line, anywhere from 5 to 10 feet, say, and you're going to attack them with rock crawlers, wiggleworts, other medium lip baits, rounded bill baits. Then you're going to go to the deep zone. Once you get, deeper than 12 feet or so, there's a variety of deep diving crankbaits with large bills to attack the deeper water. Now let's talk about color. What colors do you throw where? Well, first let's define what you're doing. If you're fishing dirty water, you're going to deal with colors like chartreuse and black, red and chartreuse, or red. Now red I throw in dirty cold water. In dirty warm water, I'm going to throw chartreuse and black, or some type of fire tiger, or some type of bright yellow color in warmer dirty water. And in dirty water, whether it's sunny or cloudy doesn't matter as much. When you're getting into dingier water or clearer water, you're going to have to alter your baits depending on whether or not it's sunny or cloudy out. So let's go right into that. On sunny days in clear water, you want a natural reflective bait. Depending on the depth you're fishing, alter the bait size, depth of dive, and everything. In clear water on cloudy days, you want a natural painted bait. It looks like a shad, but it has a painted finish. In cloudy conditions, that's going to work way better for you than a reflective bait. In dingy water situations on cloudy days, you definitely want a painted bait and it to be brighter. Like this is a bright white with a bright blue back. In dingy water situations on a cloudy day, you want a more muted painted bait. Now let's talk about action. When I talk about action, I'm talking about how it moves through the water. Generally in cold water or with finicky fish, you want a bait that doesn't have a lot of side-to-side action. You want a bait like a flat-sided crankbait or one of these narrow crankbaits with a thinner lip on it, or like these Fritz sides, they're flat baits with a little narrow lip, so you get a very tight wiggle. You can also substitute that with a vibrating bait like a rattle trap, something like that. And then in dingier water situations, you want a crankbait that has more action, more side-to-side movement to attract the fish because they can't see as well, so they need to feel it in order to attack it. Size of crankbait is also very important. You need to match the hatch. Whatever's in your body water that you're fishing, if it's loaded with crawdads, you want crawdad type baits. If it's loaded with big shad, you want bigger shad looking crankbaits. If it's loaded with minnows, glass minnows and things, you want thinner style baits. Early in the year, before the bait fish have spawned, you generally want a bigger bait. Later in the year, in the fall, when the fish have all spawned, you generally want a smaller type bait until late fall. So let's talk about water temperature. Does water temperature matter with the crankbait? Well, it really does in kind of two ways. The colder the water, the slower you want to move your crankbait. The warmer the water, the faster you want to move your crankbait. But you can pretty much catch them on a crankbait all year long with, even in the dead of winter. But sometimes, it's not the bait that you want to throw in some situations where the water is extremely cold, because you really just can't move it slow enough for the fish to react to it. And then you change to things like jerk baits and slow moving baits then. So once you get into the low 40s and on down, other than actually bumping the fish and getting a reaction strike from them, it's probably not going to be your best selection. But other than that, you can throw it all year long. You can throw it in ponds, lakes, rivers, reservoirs, ditches, swamps, anywhere, as long as you match the bait properly to the condition that you're fishing. Most every crankbait works. Some of them aren't as good as others. You kind of have to experiment with them. Stick with the quality crankbaits and you'll catch plenty of fish doing that. Apply these crankbaits properly with the things that we just talked about: time of year, action, watercolor, the color of the bait, the action of the bait, the depth that it runs, and apply all those things properly and you will catch more fish. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.